This is what happens a lot of times when you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years off to work on yourself and not be in a relationship. Everything seems like it's great. You're like, you know what? Man, I got in good shape. Man, I got my money right. Um, I worked on some of my past trauma and issues. Man, I'm killing it now. I'm a totally different person. Everything is better. Now you try to get into a relationship or you try to get into the dating game and you start adding new people and new situations to the mix. And it makes it very difficult because now you don't feel like you really worked on anything. You're like, yeah, I got my diet routine. I got all this up. What's up, Jessica? I got my diet routine. I got all this going on. And now I got into a relationship and I'm struggling with my diet. Why? Well, you wasn't going out on dates with anybody, so you didn't have to worry about eating out because you could just say, I'm not going to eat out. You don't have to worry about cooking for anybody else. So that helps you with your food program and what you do there. You don't have to worry about dating and making it to the gym because you haven't been dating, you've just been making it to the gym. So you don't really understand balance because you haven't been balancing anything. You've been focusing on one aspect of life, that's getting in shape, making money, whatever, just you. Now when you start adding other elements to it, it makes it to where like you didn't do any work at all. It's just like I talked about before, when you out here on the court, you've been working on that jump shot in the backyard every day, but now somebody just passed you the ball, and where whoever you had passing you the ball was passing it to you right in the shooting pocket, they threw the ball to you at your knees. The person in the game, because you know they got defense on them, so they're not throwing perfect passes every time. They threw it up over your head, and you can't adjust to some of these things. You can't adjust to running up and down the court, then having to make a shot. There are certain elements that start happening that make it more difficult for you. This is why I say you have to keep dating as you're working on yourself, because it also taps into a fundamental issue that you probably have when you're dating. Have you ever noticed that people will say, I got to work on myself after, when they break up with somebody? Have you ever noticed that somebody will break up with somebody, they'll lose weight, they'll get a better job, they'll start working on things, they'll write a book. They'll start working on all of these things that they never worked on while they were in their relationship. And they say, see, now I'm healing, I've improved me. But what they don't understand is they still haven't worked on the fundamental issue that they have in their relationships, whether they're romantic, friendships, or any of those. They're losing themselves. That's a fundamental issue that you're not working on. That's why you have to work on yourself outside of your relationship, because you have a fundamental issue of either getting comfortable or losing yourself once you get into a relationship. Why do you get into a relationship and gain a bunch of weight? Why do you get into a relationship and stop pursuing things career-wise? Why do you get into a relationship and stop working on talking to your friends and hanging out with people and getting to know new people, doing new things? Why do you do that when you get into a relationship? That's going to be the same issue that you run into when you quote unquote work on yourself and then try to get back into a relationship. When you get back into a relationship, your life is going to stall again because you haven't solved that problem. You simply avoided the problem, and you want to feel like you've improved. You want to feel like you've made headway, but in reality, you haven't improved the core issue. You haven't improved the fact that when you get into a situation, whether it's a relationship or whatever, you stop improving and you just kind of stay steady wherever you are, and then of course decline. That's going to be something that you have to work on. A lot of times what we do is when we struggle in one area, we try our best to double down in the areas that we are successful in and try to pretend like we're actually trying to improve the overall. I see where a lot of guys get this dating advice, and some of you ladies that are watching this and some of you guys will be able to kind of get something from this. A lot of guys will get this dating advice that says, yo, bro, before you start dating, you need to get your money right, get rich, get in shape, get you a whole bunch of girls, get a rotation first. Then you can get into a relationship after that. Well, that sounds nice and that sounds cool and everything, but the problem that you run into is now, because you haven't been dating really and getting in relationships, you haven't realized what your real issue is. Obviously, you're not going to get a rotation of women if you're not even able to have a decent relationship with one girl. So that's not going to happen. So what'll end up happening is you'll lean into getting in shape, making money, and that type of thing. Once you get to that point, then you might start seeing a little bit more success with women. But as soon as you start getting into a relationship where y'all both care about each other, boom, the same problem will come up again. That girl will start talking trash to you. She'll start running you. You'll stop working on your business. You'll stop working on your health. You'll stop caring about anything else and totally just push yourself into that relationship without accomplishing anything else. Because that's all you really know. And everything else was a mask for who you really are. See, what people try to do is they try to change superficial things about themselves that make you think that the core has changed. And the core really never changed. It's like, here, I'm going to start dressing different. Here, I'm going to start talking different. I'm going to start pretending like I'm a different person. But in reality, you have not changed the core. You haven't changed who you really are as a person. So whenever you get into a situation that's similar, you're going to be the exact same. I'm going to liken it to a sports thing again, boxing. What a lot of guys will do is they'll get beat in a fight. And then after that fight, they'll get out of the ring for a long time. They'll go, okay, I'm not going to spar. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to work on my game and work on my craft. So they get on the bag and they do all this and they moving around. They're like, oh, yeah, look at me with this jab. Oh, I'm killing it with this jab. Oh, look at my footwork now. Yeah, I'm killing it. And they'll be on that bag just going off every single day. Like, yeah, I know I'm the shit now. I could beat anybody. And then as soon as they get back in the ring and they get challenged or they get tested, guess what? They go right back to doing what they was doing before, curling up, swinging wild. They do the same thing they were doing before because they didn't actually fix the core issue. They didn't fix the fact that your problem isn't that you don't know how to throw a straight punch. Your problem is that as soon as somebody hits you, you just blank out and just forget everything you ever learned. That's your real problem. And until you address that, all the other stuff isn't going to matter. Your problem is as soon as somebody starts hitting you, you get scared and uncomfortable and you start wanting to give up. Until you change that, you're not going to actually fix your situation. It's just that you're putting on a mask. And as soon as somebody exposes that part of you that makes you uncomfortable, that makes you not want to throw back, that makes you not want to, that makes you not throw straight punches, it's going to be the same thing every time. Yeah, you just delayed the inevitable by staying out of the ring. That made you feel like you've achieved. That makes you feel like you've changed. But as soon as you get tested again, you realize you didn't. And that's kind of what happens with these relationships. People will tell you, man, change your life. Do this, do that. But what you're really not understanding or recognizing is the fact that 99 times out of 100, you haven't really changed anything. And as soon as you get back into a relationship with somebody, as soon as you go back on a date, all the things that you think you've improved are going to crumble right in front of you because they're not built on a real foundation.
Pops, I'm hurt. She done left me, man. What you think I should do? Boy, back in my day, all you had to do was go to her job and you cry and you get down on your knees. You beg and plead for sympathy. I'm telling you, boy, that's all you gotta do. Pops, you talking about stalking her. That's a crime now.
Yo, it's your man, AskChazzEllis. And I know y'all tired of getting the same old 1965 game that never works. Well, click the link below and check out 9 ways to get your ex back. This is cold-hearted game where I give you different techniques to turn the tables on your ex and get them chasing you for a change.